It is 6 in the morning and the alarm clock is screaming. James hits the snooze button with a heavy hand. He makes $120,000 a year, but his checking account has exactly $412 right now. He drags himself into his least luxury SUV. He is stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the 405 freeway. The check engine light suddenly blinks on the dashboard. His stomach drops instantly. Why does a guy making 6 figures panic over a $500 mechanic bill? I guarantee this exact scenario has happened to you. You sit in that driver's seat and do the mental math. Which credit card has enough limit to cover this repair? Let me step into your shoes for a second. I know the weight of that plastic corporate badge hanging from the rearview mirror. I know the taste of that burnt drive-through coffee you bought just to feel something before the morning meeting. You are mentally and physically exhausted. You are working significantly harder than your parents ever did, but you have absolutely less to show for it. Welcome to the diagnosis of your daily grind. Let us look closely at James. James thinks he is wealthy because he has a nice car and a senior title on LinkedIn. This is what we call fake wealth. He recently bought a $1,200 phone on an installment plan. Let us do the brutal math right now. James makes about $60 an hour on paper. But after taxes, health insurance, and his 401k deduction, he takes home maybe $36. That phone did not cost him $1,200. It cost him 33 hours of his actual life. That is 33 hours sitting in useless Zoom meetings with people he cannot stand. 33 hours of pretending to care about quarterly performance metrics. He traded a tangible piece of his finite existence for a piece of glass and aluminum. Now look at the car he is sitting in. The lease costs him $800 a month. Add $200 for insurance and another $200 for premium gas. He works an entire week out of every single month just to pay for the metal box that transports him to a job he dislikes. That is 40 hours of answering passive-aggressive emails just to fund the commute. All for a car that he does not even own. If this number gave you a punch in the stomach, subscribe right now. Here we do not talk about miraculous stock investments or overnight crypto tricks. We talk about stopping the fraud you commit against yourself every single day. Let us dismantle the biggest illusion of all, the illusion of the gross salary. Your gross salary is a marketing gimmick created by the system to make you feel important. It is the money you never actually see. It is a psychological anchor designed to keep you quiet while silent inflation eats your purchasing power. You think you are moving forward, but you are walking on a treadmill. Look at the villains in this story. It is not just some shadowy elite in Wall Street manipulating the market. It is your friendly bank manager who offered you that overdraft protection with a warm smile. It is the human resources representative selling you a company retirement plan loaded with hidden administrative fees. It is the guy in the finance office at the car dealership. He sells you on the monthly payment and never mentions the total price. He stretches your auto loan to 84 months. You are paying heavy interest on a rapidly depreciating asset for 7 years. It is financial suicide packaged as a weekend holiday sales event. It is the aggressive marketing algorithm that knows exactly when you feel most tired and vulnerable on a Sunday night. They sell you a quick dopamine hit in the form of a one-click online purchase. If you are getting angry at this calculation, leave your like. Anger is the first necessary step toward efficiency. Now let us look at the other end of the spectrum. Meet Christine. Christine is a single mother making $45,000 a year. She is the perfect real-world example of the Sam Vimes Boots theory. This theory explains exactly why being poor is incredibly expensive. Christine cannot afford to buy groceries in bulk to save money. She has to buy the small, overpriced packages at the corner store because she lacks the upfront cash. She cannot afford the good winter boots that last 10 full years. She buys the cheap $30 ones that leak water after just one season. Over a decade, Christine spends more on cheap boots than James spends on a premium pair. This is what I call the poverty premium. It is the extra tax you pay simply for not having money in the bank. And it is absolutely brutal. Christine pays a fee just to cash her paycheck. She pays a late fee when the electric bill aligns poorly with her payday. The bank charges her $35 because she was $2 short on a transaction. Then they charge her another continuous fee because the account remains negative. She pays more for car insurance because her credit score took a hit during a medical emergency last year. The system aggressively charges her a penalty for struggling. This brings us to a concept I call the invisible 20%. This is the portion of your hard-earned income that vanishes into thin air just to maintain your ability to work. It is the gas in the tank to get to an office you hate. It is the expensive dry cleaning for clothes you only wear because of the corporate dress code. It is the convenience food you order through an app because you are too tired to chop an onion after a 10-hour shift. It is the dog walker you hire because you are away from your house 12 hours a day. You are essentially paying a heavy subscription fee just to participate in the labor force. Your job is creating the very problems it pays you to solve. I call this the fraud of work. You actively finance your own daily exploitation. Think about the money that simply vanishes from your account every single month. The multiple streaming services you never have time to watch. The expensive gym membership you never use because your boss keeps you late at the office. The bill the bank hid from you under the vague name of a monthly maintenance fee. You are leaking capital from a dozen tiny holes. You are a walking, breathing revenue stream for corporations that do not even know your name. I want you to look around you next time you are stuck on the highway. Look closely at the tired faces in the cars next to you. They are all playing the exhausting game of fake wealth. They are drowning in massive auto loans to impress complete strangers at the traffic light. They are carrying 5-figure credit card balances to fund vacations they only take to post pictures online. Walk through any nice suburban neighborhood. You see massive houses and 2 luxury cars in every driveway. But behind those heavy wooden doors, marriages are falling apart over secret debt. The guy next door with the boat is taking out a personal loan just to pay his property taxes. The heavy illusion of success is crushing them. They are working 50 weeks a year just to afford 2 miserable weeks of escape. This is not a life. This is a highly structured holding pattern. You are trading your most valuable asset, which is your time, for liabilities cleverly disguised as assets. Your house is not an asset if the heavy mortgage keeps you awake in a cold sweat every night. Your car is not a trophy if the depreciation makes you poorer with every mile you drive. Your credit score is not a personal badge of honor. It is just a mathematical measure of how profitable you are to the banking industry. They trained you since childhood to be a good, compliant consumer. They told you that adulthood means having a massive mortgage, a huge car payment, and endless student loans. But true adulthood is waking up to the cold math. It is realizing that the game is entirely rigged to keep your bank balance exactly at 0. They want you functional, but deeply stressed. If you are completely broke, you cannot consume their products. If you are truly wealthy, you stop playing their game altogether. So they engineer the system to keep you right in the middle. They keep you on the absolute edge of panic. You are just one missed paycheck away from total disaster. That check engine light is not just a simple mechanical failure. It is a severe stress test of your actual financial reality. And right now, you are failing the test. But knowing the diagnosis is the only way to find the cure. You have to stop confusing your credit card limit with your actual net worth. You have to stop treating your checking account like a leaky bucket. Today, I have a very specific, practical task for you. Grab your bank statement from the last 30 days. Take a red pen and highlight every single expense tied directly to your job. Calculate exactly how much of your salary actually remains after you pay for the privilege of working. The final result is going to terrify you. It will clearly show you the real hidden cost of your current lifestyle. If this video opened your eyes, send it immediately to that colleague who is always exhausted at their desk. Send it to the friend who keeps complaining about being broke while holding a brand new designer bag. We need to get out of this corporate hamster wheel together. Write "I understand the game" in the comments to signal to the algorithm that you woke up today. Let us talk about the biggest scam you proudly participate in every single day. You probably check your banking app right after you wake up. You look at your credit score and feel a tiny rush of dopamine. Let me introduce you to David. David is 35 years old and makes $120,000 a year. He wears a fitted suit and drives a sleek SUV that smells like new leather. David thinks he is winning the financial game. His FICO score is an immaculate 810. His friendly bank manager just offered him a premium rewards card with a heavy metal core. When he drops that card on the table at dinner, it makes a solid thud. It sounds like success. But let us deconstruct David's reality. That credit score is not a measure of wealth. It is an obedience metric. It simply proves how efficiently David pays interest to banks without complaining. The big lie is convincing you that access to credit is the same as having money. Every time David swipes that heavy metal card, he is borrowing from his future self. He thinks the cash back points are free money. He ignores the fact that merchants raise prices by 3% just to cover those exact reward fees. David is paying for his own rewards out of his own pocket. This is what I call the convenience tax. Now, let us flip the perspective. Look at what they do to your time. Imagine you are sitting in stop-and-go traffic on the interstate. You are exhausted. You spilled coffee on your shirt. Your back hurts from a chair that was designed by a corporate committee. You are doing all of this to pay for a lifestyle you barely have the energy to enjoy. For David to lease that brand new SUV, he pays $800 a month. Let us do the shock math right now. After taxes, David makes about $40 an hour. That means David has to sit in 20 hours of mind-numbing meetings every single month just to pay for a car. A car he only uses to drive to those exact same meetings. He traded half a week of his actual life for a piece of depreciating metal. If this number gave you a punch in the stomach, subscribe right now. Here we do not talk about miracle investments. We talk about stopping the fraud you commit against yourself. Now, let us talk about the other end of the spectrum. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah makes $45,000 a year. She works retail and is always on her feet. Sarah pays what we call the poverty premium. It is the brutal reality of the Sam Vimes boots theory. Being broke is incredibly expensive. Sarah cannot afford to buy a reliable pair of winter boots for $200. Instead, she buys a cheap pair for $40 at a discount store. Those boots leak within 3 months. Her feet get wet. She gets sick and misses a shift, losing $100 in wages. Then she has to buy another $40 pair next season. Over 5 years, Sarah spends $400 on terrible boots. David buys the $200 boots once, and his feet stay completely dry for a decade. The system punishes Sarah for not having capital up front. Look at her car insurance. Because she cannot pay the 6-month premium in full, the company charges her a monthly installment fee. She pays an extra 15% just for the privilege of being broke. Then there is her bank account. Sarah's balance drops below the required minimum of $500. The bank hits her with a $15 maintenance fee. They literally take her money because she does not have enough money. It is a penalty for existing without surplus cash. If you got angry at this calculation, leave your like right now. Anger is the first step toward efficiency. We are completely blind to these invisible taxes. Let us look at your retirement account, the famous 401k that your Human Resources Department pushed on you during orientation. You set it to auto-contribute and feel responsible. You think Wall Street is working for you. You are falling for the invisible 20% rule. Your friendly mutual fund manager charges a 1% management fee. You think 1% is nothing. It sounds harmless. But over 30 years, that tiny 1% fee eats up nearly 30% of your total potential returns. 30% of your wealth simply vanishes. It pays for your fund manager's summer house in the Hamptons. It pays for the marketing brochures that convinced you to invest in the first place. You take 100% of the risk. You supply 100% of the capital. But Wall Street takes a massive slice of the reward just for hosting the database. This is not an accident. The system was carefully designed to siphon off your excess productivity. It is the modern version of a subscription model for your life. You do not own your house. You rent it from the bank for 30 years through a mortgage. Look at the amortization schedule on that paper you signed. For the first 10 years, almost every dollar you send goes straight to interest. You are essentially paying the bank's profit margin up front. If you want to sell in year 5, you realize you have built zero equity. The big lie tells you that your primary home is an investment. It is not an investment. It is a highly illiquid asset that constantly requires maintenance, property taxes, and insurance. It ties you to one geographic location and forces you to stay at a job you hate just to make the monthly payment. Your nice bank manager is not your friend. He is a salesman in a very good suit. His job is to sell debt products. The marketing industry spends billions of dollars every year to create fake needs in your brain. They convince you that upgrading your smartphone every 12 months is normal. To buy that new $1,000 phone, Sarah works over 30 hours. She trades almost an entire week of standing on her feet, dealing with angry customers, just to get a slightly better camera. A camera she will mostly use to take pictures of products she cannot afford. This is the fraud of work. You are trading the only non-renewable resource you have, your time, your literal life energy. And you are trading it for consumer goods designed to break in 2 years. You are told to study hard and get massive student loans. You graduate with $80,000 in debt. You start your adult life in a massive financial hole. You spend the first 10 years of your career just trying to get back to zero. Every raise you get is immediately absorbed by a lifestyle upgrade. You get a promotion, you move to a nicer apartment. You get a bonus, you buy a smarter watch. Your bank account remains completely flat. Then there is the quietest villain of all, inflation. The government prints money to cover its own debts. The purchasing power of your dollar drops by 5% a year. Your savings account pays you 0.01%. You are losing math every single day you hold cash. This is why you earn more money now than you did 5 years ago, but still feel completely broke. You have fallen for the illusion of fake wealth. Fake wealth is loud. It is the leased sports car, the giant logo on the designer belt, the VIP table at the club on a credit card. Real wealth is completely silent. Real wealth is not having to set an alarm clock. It is having the cash to walk away from a toxic boss tomorrow morning without a second thought. It is owning your time outright. You need to stop playing their game. You need to stop funding the luxury lives of credit card executives and mutual fund managers. They are getting rich off your exhaustion. They are buying freedom using the hours you spend stuck in traffic. Today, pick up your bank statement and calculate how much of your salary actually stays with you after paying to work. The result will terrify you. If this video opened your eyes, send it to that colleague who is always exhausted. Let us get off this hamster wheel together. Write "I am the architect" in the comments to signal that you took control today. You are driving down the interstate at 6 in the morning. The traffic is already backing up to a dead stop. You have a coffee in your cup holder that cost you $7. Suddenly, the dashboard beeps loudly. The check engine light turns yellow. Your stomach drops immediately. You make 6 figures a year, yet a yellow light on a plastic dashboard just sent you into a total panic. Why? Because your bank account is practically at zero. Meet David. David is 35 years old. He makes $120,000 a year as a senior project manager. On paper, David is living the ultimate American dream. He has a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs. He drives a leased SUV. He carries a platinum credit card in his leather wallet. But David is completely broke. He is drowning in fake wealth. Let us look at David and his car repair. The mechanic quotes him $1,200 for a new alternator. David thinks he just has to work a few days to pay that off. He is completely wrong. David earns about $60 an hour on paper, but after federal taxes, state taxes, health insurance premiums, and his mandatory 401k contributions, his take-home pay is vastly different. We are not even counting the premium gas he buys to commute. We are not counting the overpriced dry cleaning for his mandatory office clothes. When you strip away the illusions, David actually clears $25 an hour. To pay for that $1,200 repair, David does not need 20 hours of work. He needs 48 hours. He has to sit in a cubicle for over a full week just to fix a car that he only uses to drive to that exact same cubicle. He is trading a week of his actual, irreplaceable life just to maintain his morning commute. If that number gave you a punch in the stomach, subscribe right now. Here, we do not talk about miracle investments. We talk about stopping the fraud you commit against yourself every single day. David thinks he is doing everything right because his bank manager told him so. The guy in the nice tailored suit offered him a personal loan with a warm smile. That is the friendly face of the wealth extraction industry. They sold David on the ultimate illusion. They convinced him that his FICO credit score is a measure of his financial health. Listen to me very carefully. Your credit score is not a grade of your success. It is a metric of how profitable you are to a bank. It measures how well you play their debt game. We call this the debt compliance fraud. You are taught to take out loans you do not need, to buy things you cannot afford, just to keep that number above 700. And who wins? Wall Street executives who buy their third vacation home using the interest you pay every single month. If you are angry at this calculation, leave your like. Anger is the very first step toward efficiency. Let us talk about the brutal reality of the poverty premium. It is incredibly expensive to not have extra cash. Because David has no emergency fund, he puts the alternator bill on his credit card. His card has an interest rate of 24%. He can only afford the minimum payment of $40 a month. By the time he finally pays off that mechanic, he will have spent over $2,000. He just paid an $800 penalty simply because he did not have cash on hand. That is the Sam Vimes boots theory in real life. The guy with money buys the good boots once. The guy without money buys cheap boots that leak, replaces them every year, and spends twice as much in the long run. David is buying cheap boots every single day of his life. He pays late fees on his utility bills because his paycheck clears on Friday, but the bill is due on Thursday. He pays an overdraft fee when his subscription boxes renew on the wrong Tuesday. He pays a higher premium for his car insurance because he pays it monthly instead of every 6 months. It is an endless financial bleed. The system is perfectly designed to punish you for being low on liquidity. And it is not just the big banks taking a cut. Look at the aggressive marketing that surrounds you. You open your phone and are bombarded with targeted ads telling you that you deserve a reward. You had a hard day at work, so you order food delivery. That is $35 for a lukewarm burger and soggy fries. You call it treating yourself. I call it the convenience tax. You are paying a premium because your job leaves you too exhausted to cook a simple meal. Then there is the Homeowners Association fee. $300 a month just so someone can tell David his grass is half an inch too high. And do not forget the silent inflation. The grocery bill quietly crept up 20% this year. Your salary stayed exactly the same. You are working harder just to buy the exact same carton of eggs. I know exactly how this feels because I used to be David. I remember gripping the steering wheel on the interstate, staring at miles of red taillights. I remember feeling the heavy plastic security badge swinging against my chest. It felt like a collar. I was exhausted before I even logged into my computer for the morning meeting. I sat down and calculated how much I spent on professional clothes, forced team lunches, and gas. I realized I was spending 30% of my income just to hold onto my job. The system forces you to subsidize your own employment. They convinced us that leasing a $60,000 car is a status symbol. It is not a status symbol. It is a pair of golden handcuffs. So how do we break out of this cycle? How do you transition from fake wealth to real wealth? Real wealth has absolutely nothing to do with what is parked in your driveway. Real wealth is the ability to say no. It is the power to walk away from a toxic boss tomorrow morning without a second thought. The exit strategy starts with a brutal audit of your own ego. You have to stop caring what your neighbors think. Your neighbors are broke too. They are financing their patio furniture at 29% interest. Do not take financial cues from people who are secretly panicking behind closed doors. Step 1 is killing your bleeding subscriptions. Cancel the streaming services you never actually watch. Cancel the gym membership you use as an expensive monthly guilt trip. Step 2 is building the cash wall. You need a thick buffer between you and the inevitable check engine light. That cash is not an investment to make you rich. It is insurance for your peace of mind. It keeps you from ever paying the poverty premium again. Step 3 is rethinking your entire income structure. Stop focusing purely on your gross salary. Focus exclusively on your retention rate. How much money actually stays in your pocket on the last day of the month? If you make $10,000 a month and spend $9,900, you are poor. If you make $4,000 a month and save $1,000, you are rich. It is basic math, but they try to hide it behind complex financial jargon. They want you confused. They want you stressed. A stressed consumer is a highly profitable consumer. A stressed consumer buys takeout, impulse buys on Amazon, and swipes credit cards without thinking. A calm consumer is dangerous to the economy. A calm consumer buys only what they need and keeps their money in their pocket. I want you to become highly dangerous. Today, take a hard look at your bank statement. Do not just skim it. Calculate exactly how much of your paycheck really stays with you after paying to work. Subtract the commute, the convenience meals, the work clothes, and the stress relief purchases, the final result will terrify you. If this video opened your eyes, send it to that colleague who is always exhausted. Let us get off this hamster wheel together. Write "I am the architect" in the comments to signal that you took control today.